hello and welcome back to Anime-chan, where today we're going to be looking at my reaction highlights and review of episode 22 and 23 of One Piece. Today's video is dedicated to ZAGRASH. Thank you so much for being a patron and for being on my Discord and for chatting with me. Thank you so much for supporting me. I honestly couldn't do what I do without people like you. Today we have a lot to get through, and although I can only share 10 minutes per episode reaction, I have a lot to say in the review portion of the video, so I'm going to jump right into the reaction, and then I hope some of you will stick around to hear my thoughts. Did he hit him? Look at them saving their food. Get him, Zoro! How do I feel about a girl using her sex appeal to get something for free? If I liked Nami, I'd probably make some excuse for it. But I'm not that big a fan of her already, so it kind of makes me feel even more like her even less. Like, really, girl, you use your sex appeal for, like, I don't think it's, if it's real life, let's put it that way. If it was real life, and a girl tries to use her body to get something for free, I wouldn't have the best opinion of that girl regardless of whether it was my friend or not. But in anime, I kind of, like, it's funny, like, it can be used in a funny way, especially when the girl gets shot down. Like, I remember in Fairy Tail, Lucy tried to get, like, she's like, how much did you say it was again? And then he's like, he gave her, like, I don't know, $1 off or something, and then she was like, is that all my beauty is worth? So it can be used in a comedic way, and then I can laugh. But in all honesty, this, and it might be because I already don't have the best opinion of her, and I've explained why in previous reviews. I don't like it so much. Doesn't do any, let's just say it doesn't do anything positive for my image of her at this point.
Hi, Luffy!
Oh, Krieg and his men. Or does he have good hearing? Whoa, it is a big ship. No, aren't they coming to say thank you? Please be coming to say thank you to... Whoa. I have to say, they're doing a real good job of building it up. Fuck, they're doing such a good job of building the tension. Oh, he's still looking quite brave. Does he have 3 legs? Or some, oh, that's probably Gin standing behind him. Gin is carrying him.
金ならある。いくらでもある。もうどれくらい食ってねえかもわからねえ。ください。
なんだありゃ。威厳も吐く。
The way he said "kudasai," I felt so bad for him. I can't handle it when people have that voice that like real.
力もねえ。お願いだ。うちの船長助けてくれ。本当にもうガス寸前なんだ。
Why?
もう何日も何も聞かないんだ。これがあの名だたる大悪党ドン・クリークの姿だな。こんな金もあるんだ。俺たちは客だぞ。寝ぼけたこと言ってんじゃねえ。こんなに衰弱しきってるとはまたとねえチャンスじゃねえか。
But
何も食わせることはねえ。
why is he a bully and why is he so hungry now?
そうだ。復活したらまずこの店を襲うに決まってる。一杯の水すら与えることはねえ。
何もしねえ。食わしてもらったらおとなしく帰ると約束する。だから頼む、助けてくれ。約束します。お願いします。残飯でも何でもいいですから。同情飛行ってのかい。
おい、そこどけパティ。ほらよ、銀、そいつに食わせろ。
おいサジ、すぐにその飯を取り上げろ。騙し討ちのクリークとはこいつのことなんだぞ。始まりは監獄から。
Okay, we're gonna get his backstory in a second, but can I just say, well, as sorry as I felt for him all this time, Don Krieg, and as sad as I am for Patty getting punched or kicked in the face, I couldn't help thinking about Loki, who so many times looked so sincere and sorry when he talks to Thor and asks him for forgiveness and a second chance, and that only to stab Thor in the back.
時には海軍機を掲げて港に入り、町や客船を襲ったり、白旗を振って敵船に襲いかかったり。
なんだ卑怯者か。
そんな外道は見殺しにするのが世の中のためってもんなんだよ。俺たちの命の恩人なんだ。
ああ、うまかったよ。
言ってみりゃわかるさ。
マジかよ。
なんだ、ビビってんのか。
バカなこと言うな。
God.
新しいのが欲しかったんだ。お前らには用が済んだらここを降りてもらう。約束。
The head chef will not let you just take it.
空腹と重傷でくさばってる。
Oh, okay, no, he's not
あ
lying.
いつらの水と食料を100食分まず用意してもらおう。早急に出せ。断る？勘違いするなよ。俺は別に注文してるわけじゃねえ。命令してるんだ。
サンジさん、サンジさん、すまねえ。俺はこんなつもりじゃ。
あと100人分飯を用意しなきゃならねえ。
サンジさん。
サンジ？
分かってるよ。相手が救いようもねえ悪党だってことくらいな。でも俺にはそんなことはどうだっていい。どうだっていいんだ、そんなことは。腹すかしている奴がいるってんなら食わせてやる。
Whose food? Who bought all of that food? Whose ship is this? Whose
って
kitchen?
な、それでいいんじゃねえ。
鷹の目の男。
can I just say, I was holding back. Motherfucker. When I heard that about Nami, I wanted to fucking flip over this table. I wanted to fucking bang my fist. But I was holding back. Because I don't want to offend anyone. I'm holding back because I know that she's part of the story. She's in it for the long haul. So it's like, obviously it's totally impossible to not be spoiled on anything. Like, I know Nami is, wherever the story's at now, she's probably there. Like, I've seen the pictures, the gifs, whatever, here and there. You see things, even if you don't want to. I've been muting a lot of people on Twitter. If I see they have a One Piece picture on their profile, I mute it because just in case. Because even if I'm following someone and they like something that's One Piece related, fucking Twitter shows me that shit. This person has liked, and then it's the person I don't even follow, and then they're tweeting One Piece spoilers. So I was definitely holding back my feelings because, like, I know there's gonna be a redemption arc, like that, I know. So I was holding back because I don't want to offend anyone, because I'm not in the mood for the comments like, oh, just wait for her, just wait until you understand why. Like that, even that shit is spoilery. Like, let me feel about the character how I want to feel. But I mean, I've said this 1,000 times, you guys don't have to even comment about it. I know that I shouldn't let those people, like, I've already been spoiled on the fact that she gets a redemption arc, and that she is, obviously she would get a redemption arc anyway if she's in the story for that long, you know. But honestly, I wish I had watched this series live. But I mean, how old was I even? Where was I even when this aired 10 years ago? I don't even know. So no, I'm happy that I'm getting to watch it now. And I'll tell you, whenever I'm holding back feelings, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you why I'm holding back feelings. And if I was spoiled on something, I'll tell you that I was spoiled. Whatever. I'll explain my feelings. And that's why it's so important for me to talk. Because I am not caught up on this series. And I won't be caught up for the next 3 years. Okay, it's time to talk about the episodes more in depth. So as you know, you can also read my notes if you find the link to my One Piece notebook in the description of this video. So you can read through them, you don't have to listen to me. But today I will be just reading from my notes because I don't know how I had this much to say about episode 22 especially. But there was just so much coming up for me. And also a few of my patrons had commented on my full reaction. So that gave me some stuff to think about. So while editing the reaction highlights, I do my notes at the same time, and then I record my review and basically just read through my notes for those of you that don't have time to read through them by yourselves, because I know that some people prefer playing the review in the background, maybe while busy with something else, almost like I used to listen to podcasts. Okay, without further ado, let's start with episode 22, The Greatest Pirate Fleet, Captain Don Krieg. Episode 22 opens with Zeph telling Sanji how it'd be better if he left because the other cooks don't like him. He fights with the customers and his food isn't good. As I explained in the last review at the end of episode 21's notes, I believe Zeph actually respects Sanji, but it just seems like Sanji doesn't fit in with the restaurant life. Almost like it's too restricting for him. And it's as if Zeph is trying to push Sanji away for his own good. So you can just, if you're on my notes and you didn't listen to my review last time, you can just scroll up. I think I explained it more around here at the end of the episode 21 notes. Then I type oof. So you guys will notice if you have read through my notes, I literally type my notes as if I'm talking. So I will read them in the exact same way. In this episode, Nami flirts with Sanji to get him to give her food for free. I already explained most of what I think about this in the reaction, but I just wanted to give it some more thought. Is it okay to flirt with someone to get your way? Essentially, I would say no. This isn't something I admire in a female character. Like I said, I admit that I've laughed at similar situations before when used purely for comedic purposes. For example, if the girl ends up failing at seducing the man and her ego takes a hit, but I don't find Nami leading Sanji on to be funny at all. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's tons of things that a person could do that is worse than being a tease, or whatever you'd call this. For example, I don't know, stealing someone's ship. Obviously, by this time, I've also seen episode 23. So I'm writing my notes after watching 22 and 23 while editing the episode 22 highlights. That's when I pause every now and then, write some notes, keep editing, write some notes. Okay, I don't really know Sanji or Nami very well at this point, but from the little information I've been given, if I saw a friend doing this, I would definitely talk to them about it. Am I taking this a little bit too seriously? Possibly. But I entered the One Piece world knowing, or at least being told, that Oda is a god. People literally call him Goda. Goda? I don't know how you say that. God. Obviously it means the god Oda. Goda. Goda. Sounds kind of like Gouda, the cheese. Because of his brilliance. So I am pretty much talking about everything that stands out to me, because I know it might hint at something in the future, and I want to be able to pick up on things or understand them really well. For example, sorry to jump ahead of myself here, but in episode 23, after Nami steals the ship, I realized that it was pretty much hinted at back when Kaya gave it to them. Mary wanted to explain to them how a lot of the ship's workings work, and Nami kind of aggressively says, no, you just have to tell me. I already had a suspicion back then that she was going to steal the ship, because why would she care so much about being the only one to really understand how it works? This way, she can work the ship without them, but they can't work it without her. So that's that's a double benefit for her, because she can steal it, like she was possibly planning to do from the beginning, in my opinion. And they can't leave her behind whatever happens, because she's the only one that really understands how it works. The reason why I'm explaining this is because I don't think I voiced my suspicions back then, because I thought I was overthinking. So in the future, like now, I feel that I want to talk about something or point it out, I will do it. Because later I might realize how Oda had used some funny scene in an early episode to actually foreshadow something that happens later. Like Nami's words to Mary foreshadowed her stealing the ship. Not only does it make watching more fun for me, it also deepens my appreciation for Oda's talent. Luffy noticed in this episode really early on that Krieg and his men were on the way. Like, the ship did not seem visible at all yet when he started intensely staring at the horizon. I had to cut myself asking this from the reaction, but I wondered whether Luffy has foresight, really good hearing, or can his eyes just really see that far. Either way, the episode does a really great job with sound effects to build tension during this. Don Krieg enters the scene, and it is quite apparent that he is very weak. I find out that it's from starvation. His voice makes me feel really bad for him. Although he looks super intimidating, his voice seems meek and he is in desperate need for help. At this point, I have no idea who this man is. Is he really the evil pirate these people have made him out to be? The show thus far has shown how pirates can be both good, like Shanks and his crew, Luffy and his ideals, and bad, Captain Kuro and his men, for example. I didn't want to just assume that the rumors of Captain Krieg were true if I haven't seen it for myself yet. Or it's not that I didn't want to assume it, but it was just so hard to really believe those rumors when you meet him in this state. Also, Gin, who we met in a previous episode, was shown to be a pretty decent guy. Well, besides sticking a gun in a chef's face, but that might have been done out of desperation. Maybe a part of me believed that the captain of someone likable like Gin couldn't possibly be as bad as these people made him out to be. Could he? I think I also took into account something that happened in a previous anime. Person B took the credit, sort of, for Person A's work, and everyone thought that Person B was this great hero, but he wasn't. I thought maybe Krieg had been taking credit for things that he may not really have done himself, in order to obviously make himself seem more intimidating. Maybe even all the men and ships he had were just made up, kind of like Usopp's lies. I didn't think very deeply about this yet, obviously at this point, but it seemed relatively possible taking into account they arrived at the Barati on one battered old ship, even though it was very big, because obviously I didn't have any information at this point, but these were things that were, quickly going through my head, wondering like, should I feel sorry for this guy? Shouldn't I? What should we do? What I'm saying is that at this point, it was still kind of easy to feel sorry for Krieg because I didn't really know what the truth about his character was. Patty and the rest of the crew and guests seemed hesitant at first. They listened to Krieg pleading without interrupting, as if in disbelief, but they are not willing to help based on what they know of Don Krieg and his history. Sanji, however, offers him food, and there is a really beautiful visual of Krieg on both knees, looking at Sanji, kneeling before him on one knee, a big bowl of fried rice and probably wine placed in front of him. Krieg desperately gobbles up the food with his hands. Up to now, this has all been really upsetting in a positive way. What I mean is the anime does a really great job of evoking a lot of raw emotion and sympathy from the viewer. Understandably, one of the chefs panics and tells Sanji that Krieg is notorious for being sneaky, in Luffy's words, a snake, which immediately makes me think of a certain manipulative Norse god from the Marvel universe who had me feeling sorry for him multiple times only to stab us all in the back before the end of the movie. The chef continues to explain that they would be doing the world a favor if they didn't help Krieg and rather kept him weak and hand him over to the proper authorities. Sure enough, in the next moment, Krieg attacks Sanji after regaining his strength. He even goes so far as to break Gin's arm, the man who had just been supporting his weight a few minutes before, essentially carrying him towards his salvation. Krieg demands that all his men be fed and that the chefs of the Bharati abandon the ship afterwards so that he can have it. And then I typed in little stars, rages on the inside. Like, I'm raging, I'm so mad. I was in disbelief while watching it for the first time, but while editing, I was like, angry. Sanji decides to do what he asks, feed his 100 men and give them the strength, like he gave Krieg, to fight the chefs of the Bharati so that they can steal it. As much as I can sympathize with Sanji's desire to feed starving men because he himself knows what it feels like, at this point I honestly can't see how that is the right decision to make. He knows that if he feeds them, a fight will break loose and that many men, his own nakama, would get unnecessarily hurt in the process and maybe even killed. I say nakama because Luffy mentions to Captain Kuro, how do you treat your nakama this way? So for Luffy, if you're on a ship with someone, they're like more than just a shipmate. They're your friend, they're your family. But at this point, I guess he hasn't really seen how strong Krieg is. But I guess at this point, Sanji hasn't really seen how strong Krieg is, and maybe he thinks that they could take them. But still, it seems pretty contradicting to want to help the man trying to steal your ship from you. While risking the lives of the other chefs. I didn't feel like it was Sanji's decision to make at this point. It was more like everyone's kind of decision. Do we think we can take this on? You know, it was not the kind of decision that just one person can make. Or, I don't know, I guess in the absence of their captain, the second captain gets to make that decision. I don't know. I mentioned in the reaction, but cut it out so that I could just talk about it in the review, that in reality the situation would be completely different. You don't give a starving man one meal and within seconds he's at full strength. If he wasn't starving, he was just hungry, but clearly Don Krieg was starving and his men are as well. This, however, is an anime, and the anime decided to make it so that, or not the anime, but the story decided to make it so that one serving of fried rice results in a starving person regaining his full health. I have no problem with this, of course, since it is a story and the creator decided to do it this way as a writing tool to better convey the message of the story. I just wanted to establish the fact that in real life, this specific situation would never happen and different decisions could be made, or Sanji's decision wouldn't be so bad because serving fried rice to a starving man won't mean he can jump up and hit you in the face, you know. But I feel that Oda is trying to make us think about the morality behind the decisions of these characters. I continue to say that I understand Gin's feelings to want to help his captain and nakama. Whether they're bad or good, they are his family. Clearly, they have been through hell and back together, although I'd like to point out that they've probably caused hell for many other people, ships and crews and villages too. I also understand, like I said before, Sanji's desire to help starving people, probably because of his own past, which was strongly hinted at in the last episode. But as much as I understand these characters, I cannot bring myself to see their actions as just or as the right decision at this point. Then again, this is the ocean, these are pirates. Talking about justice at all in the situation may just be a moot point. While editing, I pay more attention to Sanji's words. He says, I am aware, I know that he's a hopeless bully, and I can't help but think using the word bully to describe Don Krieg is laughable. He's not some schoolyard ruffian. He's a tyrant who broke his own man's arm, and if the rumors are true, he's done a lot worse to many, many other people. But Sanji continues to say that it's none of his business and he doesn't care. Okay, fine. If you don't want to acknowledge who these people are and what they've done, and you'd like to help them anyway, fair enough. You are a pirate yourself, and different rules, if any, apply to these people. But saying I don't care what happens after they eat their meal, not a care in the world, really shocked me. Like, do you not give a single fuck about the danger you're putting the rest of the crew in? Wow, just wow. I may be understanding this wrong, but at this point, my perception of his actions are definitely frustrating, to say the least. Clearly, at this point, I don't know that Zeph is preparing food in the kitchen, but even after finishing episode 22 and 23, I'm just as shocked and still confused at what Sanji had said. Episode 23 is next. Protect Barati. I don't know where the emphasis should be on that. The great pirate Zeph the Redleg. In this episode, we find out something very important. Zeph used to be a pirate called Redleg, or Zeph the Redfoot. Krieg says that Zeph is the only man who has come back alive from the Grand Line. This confused me a bit because didn't Krieg and some of his men also come back alive? Pretty sure they said they only lasted 7 days. So he lasted 7 days in the Grand Line and then came back. So isn't that, like, it sounds to me like that's what happened to Zeph. He came back from the Grand Lines, but didn't they then also come back from the Grand Line? So like I said in the reaction though, I don't think you should explain this to me at the moment because obviously the Grand Line, whatever that means and where that is and what it is still a mystery to me, and it's still supposed to be. So I'm just pointing this out. I don't want answers. Zeph admits that he has a journal that Krieg wants because he, Don Krieg, believes that the only thing he lacked was information on the Grand Line. Apparently Krieg thinks that Zeph's journal will give him enough information to survive, but I think he's being a little delusional, hungry with greed and power, I guess. Or maybe it wasn't so much hungry with greed and power, maybe he was so humiliated at being defeated, he's now kind of delusional about wanting to go back and thinking he can do it with just a little bit more information. Luffy decides to fight Don Krieg, it seems. Or should I say, Luffy told him that he was going to be the next Pirate King, and Krieg didn't like that. So I should say that he wants to fight Luffy. Zoro and Usopp drop by at this point, but Luffy says he doesn't need their help. I feel proud of Usopp for choosing to stand there ready to fight even though his legs are shaking. I was really surprised when Krieg puts away his gun after an intense stare from Zeph. Even without one leg, Zeph the Redfoot intimidates Don Krieg that much. Very impressive. While editing, I realized why Nami stole the ship and where she was heading off to. In the last episode, we saw a lot of focus on a wanted sign with a name on, like Arlong or something. I remember explaining that his nose looked like really pointy, I don't know. I just noticed while doing the reaction highlights that Nami was staring at that poster again. Yosaku and the other guy ask her what she's doing, and she just stands there at the rail with the corner of the poster flapping in the wind. So clearly that was part of her decision to why she decided, okay, now is the good time to steal the ship, let's go. Some of the cooks are mad at Sanji, on the inside again, for making the decisions he did, but Zeph calls them out saying, have you ever had the experience of starving to death? Clearly, Zeph and Sanji have had this experience, or maybe Zeph just knows what Sanji has been through and understands why he does things the way he does. But I feel like it's really silly to have expected the other chefs to be okay with Sanji doing whatever he wants with no explanation. I know this is just a story, but I'm just saying that things would have been much better for the morale of the ship if the crew understand why Zeph allowed him to do whatever he wanted. Communication is key in any workplace, but I mean, once again, these are pirates. So what was I expecting? I just bring this up because I still understand why the other chefs were mad at Sanji. In most workplaces, when someone is in a position above you and they look like they can just do whatever they want with no explanation and there's no communication as to why things are being done this way, those in the lower positions would build up resentment because this is their restaurant. They're all working so hard to make a decent living, and Sanji just gives food to anyone he wants. The head chef lets him do as he pleases without explaining to the other crew members why. obviously resentment was gonna build. That's all I'm trying to say. And it's really important for any workplace, any crew, for those underneath, those in lower positions, to respect and understand, you know, they're those above them, the captain, the vice captain, whatever you call it, second captain. Otherwise, the only other way to keep them in check is with fear. But this is not that kind of ship. So I don't know. I feel like I still understand their anger. We found out the reason Krieg and his men only lasted 7 days at the Grand Line was because they were attacked by a man named Hawkeyes. Yosaku said in one of the last episodes that Hawkeyes is a person Zoro had been hunting. But at this point, I can't tell if Zoro is really angry hearing about this man, or really afraid. And this is happening while Zeph is surmising that the person Gin is talking about has to be Hawkeyes. So Gin was telling them about what had happened at the Grand Line, and it's Zeph that says that has to be Hawkeyes. It hurts me so much watching this back while editing, seeing Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp being worried about Nami and the ship after the guy with the eyes attacks and cuts the ship in half, the big one, and Zoro says, Nami and the ship, it may still be too late. And Luffy didn't even say anything, he just ran, and then Zoro and Usopp run after him. It just breaks my heart to see that, knowing that she had already stolen it at this point. The episode ends around there, where we're kind of on this verge of a big fight between Krieg's men and the Bharati, and now suddenly, in a moment, all that's turned around, and this guy that is probably Hawkeyes attacked the ship. A guy that I said, oh my gosh, I'm probably only going to find out about this guy 500 episodes from now, when Zoro and Luffy and them get to the Grand Line. I was like, I wasn't expecting in the same episode, boom, there he is. I was literally shocked. So it ends there, where this guy just shows up, attacks the ship, cuts it in half, and Luffy and them finds out that their own ship has been stolen. And that's where it ends. The reason why at the end of the episode I emphasize that I'm not caught up on the series, and I won't be caught up for a long time, is to just let everyone know that the reason I talk so much and make all these notes is to remind you guys that I am watching this for the very first time. When people were watching live for the first time, like as it was coming out years ago, they were able to experience the excitement and frustration of not having another episode to go through. Those people were forced to think about theories and what could this have meant and where is this going. And I like that, because I like being able to talk about each episode afterwards, thinking about what these things meant, and my first experience, and sharing my first experience or image of these characters and events. I realize that I'm years behind, and people are allowed to post pictures that are considered spoilers on Twitter and wherever, because it's not their fault I'm only starting One Piece now. They shouldn't not be allowed to tweet things about it just because I'm not caught up. Of course, obviously, duh. But this is my channel, and everyone on here knows how far I am, so that's why spoilers on my channel aren't allowed. And that's why I choose to experience the anime at my own pace, because I'm having fun this way. It's really so much fun for me to watch and make theories. I just kind of wish people didn't even hint at things in the comments. It makes me not want to read through the comments, but if I didn't, I'd also be sad, because talking about everything with all the fans, the things that happen in this episode, is part of what I love about being an otaku. The problem is, I guess it's very hard for people to talk about how these early episodes made them feel back when they first watched it, without taking into account what they know now after being caught up. So I'm just pointing this out because, like I said, I was holding back with the whole Nami thing because I was aware that, you know, she gets a redemption arc and all that kind of stuff. And I'd love for you guys to keep commenting on these videos, of course, and I'd love to keep reading through them after like 24 hours when my mods have gone through the comments. I'd love to keep doing it the way that I have, but I just want you guys to focus on I don't know, talk about what about my reaction did you enjoy, or talk about how you felt during this episode when it happened. But don't make arguments for characters taking into account what happens later, because even if you're vague, you're still hinting at things I'm going to feel or things I'm going to see, you know? So other than that, I really appreciate you guys' support and comments. I really love doing these reviews. I know that they're long, but I do this for myself. I watch this anime because I enjoy it. I make these notes because I enjoy it, and I'm sharing that with you guys, not just to entertain you. Like, I hope you guys are entertained by my reaction. I hope you enjoy listening to my review, sure. But I'm doing this because I want to watch it and because I want to make these notes. I'm just sharing them with you in case you would enjoy them. Once again, thank you to ZAGRASH for sponsoring this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I will try my best to make up for the fact that this video was late at a later point when my internet is back to normal. At this point, I'm having a lot of internet issues. I'm having to buy extra data on my phone because my ISP is giving me so much shit, and the upload speed is like less than 2. So it takes, for a one-piece video, it would take probably 16 to 24 hours to upload because these videos are so big. Yeah, so I'm having to buy data to upload these, and it is quite expensive. So basically what I'm saying is just I will make up for it when I can with more episodes or whatever. Okay, thank you guys for listening to me. I'll see you next time. Bye.